Hello all, welcome back. So in this session we will learn about respiratory system in Unu. Now as we all know, Unu is an aquatic animal. Hence it respires with the help of oxygen dissolved in water. So obviously the mode of respiration is exclusively aquatic. So then what are the structures that are involved in this process? In order to respire through the aquatic medium, it requires gills or the ctenidia, and it also has a structure called as mantle which helps in the process of respiration. Since this mantle is also richly supplied with blood vessel and it is a highly vascular structure that also helps in the process of respiration. Now let us try to understand the structure of these gills, where they are present, how they are attached, and how the process of respiration takes place. Now if you look at gills or the ctenidia, there is a single pair of elongated ctenidia or gills, one on each side of the foot. So you know that in our earlier sessions when we discussed about morphology and other topics, we said that when you open a shell, you first find the shell. The shell is followed by a layer of mantle, and below the mantle you find two folded gill plates, right? And then you find the visceral mass, and below the visceral mass again you find a pair of, the folded pair of gills, and then the mantle, and then the shell. This is the order of structures that we find. Now the gills here in case of Unio, they are of eulamellibrach type, meaning they contain gill filaments, and the lamellae and the gill filaments of these gills, they are closely united. They lie very closely to each other to perform this job of respiration. And then since this mantle cavity is pretty much large in Unio, it makes it possible for, or that in turn accommodates, the greater length of ctenidia which lie laterally to the visceral mass. Now if you take each ctenidium or each gill, it appears double, but it is made up of two gill plates. And these gill plates are also called as demibranchs because they are something like this V-shaped structure. See here, you can see these structures that you see here like this in the form of W. This is a demibranch, okay, or it is also called as a lamina. Laminae is plural, lamina is singular. Now this lamina, each gill plate, that is each fold of gills, has got two laminae. One is the outer laminae, which is the outer laminae in this. This is the outer lamina, and this is the inner gill lamina. Okay, this is the outer one, this is the inner one. So overall they are present like this in the form of a W-shaped structure. So such kind of gills are called as the demibranchs or the gill laminae. Now if you look at the structure of each gill lamina, you will understand that see, now this is one lamina, and that is the outer lamina, and here I'll use a different color. This is inner gill lamina, okay, and they are made of two different, it's folded upon itself. Now if you look at this outer gill lamina, this is made up of two laminae, two folds, which we call it as laminae. In that, now this is one fold. Now this is called the outer lamella of the outer gill lamina, and whereas this inner fold is called the inner lamellae of outer gill lamina, and these two are a part of outer gill lamina. I hope you got it. So it is very simple. The gill plates shows two folds. Each fold we call it as lamina, and in this fold each fold will show the outer and the inner layer. So these folds are called as lamellae. L-A-M-E-L-L-A. Okay. So this is the outer lamella, and this is the inner lamella of this outer gill lamina. Similarly, when you look at the inner gill lamina, which is the inner gill lamina, that which is shown in blue. Now again, this also has got outer and inner, the outer fold and the inner fold. So these folds are called as lamella. Okay, so this is the outer lamella of the inner gill lamina, and this is the inner lamella of the inner gill lamella. So once you understand this, it becomes very easy for you to understand. So just because they are present in these two folds, it gives like a W kind of appearance. Now, because of the presence of these ctenidia, this divides the mantle cavity on each side into a larger ventral inhalent, infrabranchial chamber. Okay, here, sorry, it divides it into chambers, that is infrabranchial chamber here, and then a smaller dorsal exhalent chamber, which we call it as suprabranchial chamber. So this whole thing is the mantle cavity, and because of the presence of this gill plates, it is dividing this mantle cavity into a ventral larger infrabranchial chamber and an upper smaller suprabranchial chamber. So each gill plate or the lamina is formed of two similar flaps, which we already discussed, and we call it as lamellae, and these lamellae are joined to each other except dorsally, on all other sides they are joined, so that they give rise to the formation of a long bag-like structure. And these lamellae, if you see, it is made up of number of gill filaments. See this here, the picture, if you see, this actually gives you a magnified view of each. This is a portion of one of the lamina, which contains outer lamellae and inner lamella. I hope you can get it. Like we said, this is the structure of the gill. We said this is the outer lamina, and this is the outer lamina, and this is the inner lamina. So if you take a portion of this and you magnify, you see it is represented like this. Okay, so here you can see that it has gill filaments, and each the gill filaments are elongated and they pass downwards, and then they reflected upwards like in the form of V, so that it has both ascending limb and descending limb. And these two adjacent gill filaments are also connected with each other. This is one filament, this is one gill, this is one gill. They are all connected to each other like this, and these junctions are known as interfilamentar junctions. When two gill filaments are joined together, you call it as interfilamentar junctions. In the same way, when a portion of the lamella is joined to the other, you call it as interlamellar junctions. So they are called as interlamellar junctions. Thus, the gill filaments and the interfilamentar junctions form the two lamellae of a gill plate. Okay, these two lamellae of the outer gill, the outer lamella and the inner lamella of one gill plate is connected by these interlamellar junctions. And in between, if you see, in between these lamellae, you find a small hole-like structures which are called as ostia. And it is through this ostia that the water enters to the mantle cavity. From the mantle cavity, the water enters into the water tubes through this ostia. Now these box-like structures that you see, they are the water tubes, and if you observe from ostia, the water comes to the mantle cavity, and through the ostia the water enters into the water tubes. Now this diagram gives you much more clear a view of how gill filaments are arranged and what are interlamellar junctions and where is ostia and how these filaments are placed. You can clearly make out the interlamellar junctions. Okay, these interlamellar junctions, where do you find them? They are found between the two lamella of the gill plate, and the space between these two lamella are divided by the vertical bars, which we call it as interlamellar junctions. In figure B, that gives you much more clear idea. If the gill is suspended like this, you have the space formed, and that is partitioned by this interlamellar junctions, and it is these interlamellar junctions that contain blood vessels. That means blood comes to the gills, to these interlamellar junctions. The water is filled in these water tubes, and it is there the diffusion of gases takes place, facilitating the process of respiration. Now these interlamellar junctions between the two lamellae, they divide the space to form into a particular compartments, these box like compartments which we called as water tubes, isn't it? And these water tubes towards its dorsal side, they open into the suprabranchial chamber. And where is the suprabranchial chamber? That is in the mantle cavity. We said the gills divide the mantle cavity into inferior infrabranchial chamber, which is pretty larger, and a smaller suprabranchial chamber. And here this diagram A gives you a clear idea as to how the gill filaments are arranged, and the interlamellar junctions and the water tubes, and these water tubes opens into this suprabranchial chamber, and this suprabranchial chamber directly opens into the excellent siphon through which the water is thrown out of the unio. And also a ventral foot groove that runs longitudinally at the lower edge of the each inner gill plate. Now here in this picture, if you see, you can see foot groove here, and which is the foot groove. Now if this is the gill plate, here you have a depression like thing, right? So along that the foot moves. What kind of foot? From where will the foot comes from? It comes from the incurrent water. As it comes, we said by learning about the digestion in case of unio, we learned this, how the food is processed. So whatever the smaller food particles come, that gets entangled with the mucus secreted, and it forms, or it becomes in the form of a food card, and that food card moves along this foot groove because of the beating effect of the cilia of the gill filament, right? So like this, you have one ventral foot groove and also two dorsal foot grooves on each side at the base of the gills you find, which facilitate the movement of this foot card, which is where the food particles are entangled in the mucus. Now This slide shows you and explains you the structure of gill filament. Now if you take each filament and study their structure, this is how they look like. Now these gill filaments are covered with various kind of cilia, and it is supported by two chitinous rods. You can see these two dark dots present. They are the chitinous rods, and because of that it can stand straight and retain its position, because that is the supportive structures. On the sides of the filament you see lateral cilia, and you can see laterofrontal cilia and the frontal cilia. Now it is this lateral cilia which encounters the inhalent current, and then it is the laterofrontal cilia which, you know, it actually separates the larger food particles, and only the finer food particles are pushed forward, and the beating of the frontal cilia further pushes the food in the food groove. So that is how the food moves with the help of this action of ciliary action of this gill filament. So these are the lateral cilia, this is the laterofrontal cilia, and these are the frontal cilia, and this is supported by these chitinous rods, and it is lined by ciliated epithelium and encloses the blood corpuscles and the connective tissue. So here gill filaments plays a very important role. Now, how is the blood supply? Blood is supplied to Ctenidia. While learning about circulatory system, we said the blood from the kidneys, that is taken after removing the nitrogenous waste. It is taken up by, from the efferent renal vein, the blood is poured into the afferent branchial vein or the afferent ctenidial vein. So this afferent ctenidial vein brings the blood to the gills for the purpose of oxygenation, and it gives rise, and these blood which is carried by these ctenidial veins, it branches into these interlamellar junctions, and these branches unite again and to form this efferent branchial vessel which takes away this oxygenated blood, and then it pours into the auricle, right? So the oxygenation occurs in this lamellae, and that's how the process of respiration takes place here. Now when the water, like if you clearly look into how this process of respiration occurs, it can be summarized in these 2-3 sentences. Like when the water passes through the water tubes in the gill, the gaseous exchange takes place, and the carbon dioxide from the blood is diffused out in the water, and dissolved oxygen that is present in the water is diffused into the blood. That's how the process of diffusion takes place, and the blood gets oxygenated and is carried back to the heart. Now, how exactly the course of water current occurs? So now let us look in as to how this course of water current takes place. I'll just give you an outline. So because of this constant beating of cilia of the gill filaments, that causes a continuous current of water to enter the inhalant siphon, which lies, you know that the water comes from the inhalant siphon, and because of the beating of the cilia, this water is pushed forward. So the cilia of this gill filament plays an important role. Now the lateral cilia passes this water current inside, and through the ostia it enters the water tubes of the gill plates, and from water tubes it goes through the suprabranchial chambers, and then it passed out through the exhalent siphon, right? Now this laterofrontal cilia, they play a major role wherein they are in the form of a flexible comb bordering this ostia. Now what does this comb do? That acts like a sieve, and it prevents the entry of larger particles from entering into the ostia. Otherwise that may choke these animals. And then the water current that has entered, that not only transports oxygen but it also brings in food, as we have already learned while discussing that digestive system in Unio, and the outgoing current which carries away the products of excretion and feces, and also it carries away the carbon dioxide that is released. And one more important thing to be noted here is the mantle, which is a highly vascular structure, will also help in this gaseous exchange. So that also plays a role in the process of respiration. And then this gill lamina, what we said, especially during breeding season, the outer gill lamina, it becomes enlarged, or it gives you a kind of swelled up kind of an appearance. Why? Because the female gamete, when it is released, it goes and settles in the water tube, and then the male gamete that comes through the incurrent water, that comes, and the process of fertilization occurs in the water tube, and after getting fertilized, the early development of the zygote also happens in this water tube, and hence during breeding season that outer gill lamina becomes little enlarged, and it is called as, or it acts as a brood pouch where it nourishes this zygote and its early development. And then once the glochidium larval stage is formed, it is dispersed out and the further development takes place, and that we will learn when we learn about the reproduction and life cycle in Uni. So this is with respect to respiratory system in Unio, and I hope I've put it in very simpler form so that you can understand it better. All you need to know is the structure of the gill plate, its position, and the structure of the gill lamellae, the gill filaments, different kinds of cilia that are there in the gill filaments, and then what is interlamellar junction, interfilamentar junctions, if your water tubes, and the suprabranchial chamber. If you are clear with these terms, it makes you easy to understand this concept. So these are the books from which the content has been taken, and here are a few questions. So in Unio, the respiration is it by mantle or gills or both or none? So since both option is given, you have to choose option C is the right answer. So in Unio, each lamella with many gill filaments are connected by interlamellar junction or interfilamentar junction or interbranchial junctions or none. Now two gill filaments are connected by interfilamentar junctions, but two lamellae are connected by, that is the outer lamellae and inner lamellae, they are connected by interlamellar junction. So you have to be sure. Now each gill filament in Unio has chitinous rods, lateral cilia, frontal cilia, all the above. All three are the structures of gill filament. So the right option is option D. Now in Unio, the water tubes of the gill open dorsally into which chamber? Suprabranchial, infrabranchial, mantle cavity, which one? Suprabranchial chamber. So the right answer is option C. Now which part of the gill in Unio acts as brood pouch? The outer gill lamina. So the answer is option A. So with this, I hope you have understood this process of respiration in Unio. Thank you for listening. Have a nice time. If you have any queries, you can write it to my email ID vlatadamodaran@gmail.com, and kindly like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.